Good morning, well, I guess it's afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Katie calling in from Premier Marketing. Wanted to thank you all for attending today. We are absolutely ecstatic to have Maria and Amanda from Mutual of Omaha to discuss their mutual care solutions portfolio. As you know, we've all seen some craziness in the LTC market, a lot of inquiries after the 2020. And with that, we just thought having a good refresher on where Mutual of Omaha stands out, why maybe we've missed some opportunities and we need to go back. And this will just be a great presentation. As always, if there are questions that occur during or you're having a thought, please feel free to type it in. We will definitely address them all, whether it would be during the presentation or afterwards. So with that, Amanda, are you ready to take it away?
I sure am. Thanks, Katie. Marie and I appreciate that you've chosen us to come on, and we just want to thank everybody on the line today for taking time out of your day to hear from Mutual of Omaha on such an important topic. Long-term care, we all know, is one that has had more media shed on it today, more than ever before. So the fact that you have a partner like Premier that will pull us in when needed and help educate on such an important topic, we appreciate that and we value that relationship with Premier. So to kind of kick off here, as Katie said, my name is Amanda Blackburn. I'm one of the long-term care sales directors at Mutual of Omaha. On the line with me today is Maria Lara-Rivas. She's an account executive at Mutual that works with me in support of our long-term care distribution partners. I have over 20 years of experience in working with Mutual of Omaha, and Maria has many more years than that. So we both have completed our CLTC designations and have a very strong passion for this line of business. I'm going to assume that everyone on the line is either likely to have experienced a long-term care event within their family, or you know someone who has been impacted by a long-term care experience. I thought I'd just personally speak. I grew up on a farm in Southwest Iowa. My dad farmed for years and years, and eventually he ended up giving up the farming business and going to work for a company. My parents lived paycheck to paycheck, like a lot of middle market Americans do. And unfortunately, my parents never planned for long-term care. Even as I experienced my roles at Mutual of Omaha and I would bring up different insurance planning discussions, I could never get them to spend that extra money on taking out a policy. It just wasn't a priority for them until my dad found out that he had cancer, and we had to live through that experience with him. And prior to him passing away, he had said to me, Amanda, please get your mother coverage. We tried, but unfortunately for her health prevented her from being able to take out a policy. And I share that story with you to tell you just how important it is for you to be having these conversations. They're not fun to have, but if you are not having them with your clients, I can guarantee they're reading about it online, hearing about it through the media, and eventually someone will approach them about the topic, and it could be that they end up taking the coverage out with another agent. So if you can be proactive in having those conversations, I mean, just kind of keep in the back of your head, people spend weeks planning for vacations and they will do the research they need to do to implement the right auto coverage or health insurance coverage. And so just forcing yourself into bringing up the topic of long-term care, I think can go a long way. And later on in our presentation here, we'll give you a few things, tools that might help you in initiating that conversation. You know, I mentioned that now more than ever, long-term care is a hot topic in the media, right? And we know that with current state, there's a lot of different perspectives on the thought of long-term care and how to plan for it. I first thought I'd kick off with just sharing a message with you that our CEO had shared with us at Mutual of Omaha a few months back when kind of this pandemic had just taken off. And I'm sharing it just to kind of build that confidence with you in where we stand as a company. So just kind of in an environment where there's so much uncertainty, I think one thing is for certain, we're positioned at Mutual to weather the storm, whether it's this current pandemic or past pandemics. We actually had endured the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, the Great Depression. Mutual's been through 2 world wars and even our recent 2008 financial crisis, just to give you some level of perspective of where we've been and what we've been through. Know that one of our greatest advantages at Mutual of Omaha is our mutual corporate form. being a mutual company uniquely positions us to focus solely on the long-term care needs of our customers and not on those short-term demands of the stock market. So these are just a few examples of many significant external events that have posed challenges to our economy and our business. And through it all, Mutual of Omaha has stood strong and continues to serve our customers. As I mentioned, I hope this just brings you some level of certainty and confidence in our position as a company. And don't get me wrong, we will face additional challenges. There's probably, at some point, whether it's in our life or generations to come, another pandemic that could hit. But I think this speaks volumes to where we stand as a company. I thought I'd also just kind of give a glance into how rating agencies have rated us, including AM Best, Moody's Investor Services, Standard & Poor's. So again, that financial strength of our company is something you don't need to be concerned about as agents out there promoting our product. All right, so jumping over here into the committed to long-term care planning solutions, I think it's important to know and also help your customers understand that there's no viable government solution on the horizon for addressing the need of getting more long-term care coverage into more people's homes. We know over half of people, 52%, who reach age 65 will require some level of long-term care. And this could incur on average anywhere from $138,000 to $172,000 a year in costs, depending on where they're located in the United States and how they're receiving care. Is that in a semi-private room? Is that in a private room? Is that through home health care costs or other facility options? Keeping all of that in mind, Mutual is committed to helping you bring coverage to your clients, and we want you to be confident that years down the road, when the coverage is going to matter most, which is at claim time, we will be here. We are the only carrier in the market today to offer a full suite of planning solutions. So there's a lot of different options out there depending on what you're looking at, but Mutual of Omaha offers solutions. So not just the traditional, we have the life insurance with long-term care rider, we have the life insurance with chronic illness rider. There's multiple solutions, and I think it's important for you to know that not one solution fits all. So that's where, you have the hardest job as an agent out there, really becoming familiar with what's in the marketplace and how each of these options can fit with your clients. We are also evaluating the hybrid space. You've probably seen other carriers in the hybrid space recently make changes to their product features and increase rates. I think the experience we bring in our product, developing our product, and also paying of claims. We've got years behind us with that experience. And as I mentioned, that mutual corporate form, that is really what makes us unique and gives the distribution confidence in what they're selling. You can see, if you reflect on any of the applications that we have, you can see that we do mention our in-force rate actions. We note those. I get this question all the time. Is there anywhere I can go to see what your rate increase history is? For our in-force business that's already on the books and not being sold now, that is noted on our application. So you can check that out on the application. But we did recently announce a rate adjustment in a number of states, and so I'll go over some of that in a little bit more detail just to make sure you're brought up to speed on where we're at. But what I'll be talking about, just to kind of set the stage and clarify, is new business rate adjustment. So on our existing business that you guys are selling moving forward, that's the rate adjustment I'm going to be talking about with you today. All right, so I really can't get through a presentation without mentioning our Wild Kingdom brand. We hope that our sponsorships and our investments in our branding helps you bring Mutual of Omaha into your clients' homes. It's sometimes good to just take a look back at history. In the early 1900s, insurance was for the wealthy and most Americans couldn't afford it. Our founder at that time changed that, and today we can still say that we are a company that focuses on middle market America and the needs, and making sure we're offering product solutions that not only meet those needs, but at a price point that consumers can afford. Our Wild Kingdom brand actually launched in 1963, and it still exists today. I'm sure that you schedule appointments, go into people's homes, or maybe it's online today, not face-to-face, but they might not know all of what we offer, but they probably know, oh, Mutual of Omaha, they have the Wild Kingdom. That show still exists out on Animal Planet today. Hopefully you've seen that we rolled out at the end of last year, we announced our new corporate logo. It's a symbol of a lion, an animal that's synonymous with protection and strength. So we made this change not to take away from our proud history, but rather to focus in on our living values and better reflect what we stand for, including our commitment to be a part of a positive change. So just kind of keep that in mind. I told Katie I thought I'd try to add a little bit of a spin in today's webinar. I'm going to gather a list of the attendees on the line from Katie after this webinar is over, and then Maria and I are going to enter in all the names into a spin the wheel, and we're going to pick a few lucky winners and ship out some Mutual of Omaha trinkets with our new logo. So look forward to that if you're one of our lucky winners. I wanted to, as I mentioned, hone into our mutual care portfolio. But I'm not going to go over every detail and benefit feature. I want to highlight where I think you should focus on with our product. But again, as before we do that, I want to just kind of focus in on the rate refresh for a moment. We kicked off a rate adjustment on our new business only on 9/1, with the majority of the states being rolled out. We had a second announcement on 11/1, and then this week we announced additional states for 3/1. So if you don't have those announcements and you're wondering which states have been impacted versus which ones we still have yet to announce, feel free to reach out to Premier. They can share prior express communications where we announce that with all the transition rules and other information. Today, we're actually sending a communication with friendly reminders on best practices. It's important that you as an agent have your licensing, your certifications, and your continuing ed in place before taking an app, so that, if you don't have those things in place, I would hate to see that you'd have to go out and take another app if they're not in place. So just kind of read up on some of that, make sure you're up to date on all of that. When we announced these rate adjustments, I wanted to point out just a few features of the product that we updated. It's very minimal, but as I'm going through some of the product highlights, I just want you to be aware of those changes. And so one was we adjusted our cash offering to 25%. Both partners insured allowance, it went from 30% to 15, and then one partner insured changed from 15 to 5. So just thought it was important that I point those things out along the way. Again, I want to reiterate, these adjustments are on new business only. The adjustments, just to kind of give you some insight, they have not negatively impacted our sales at Mutual of Omaha. Really, clients out there probably have not done enough insight on the carriers to know which ones are taking rate increases or not, but what they care about at the end of the day is what is their premium? Is it one that they can afford to have some coverage versus no coverage? And I think that is truly where the value of Mutual of Omaha's product plays out, is the flexibility that is built to meet any client's budget and price point. And that's what we're going to talk about here shortly as we highlight the product features. A couple of things I wanted to just share, because I get this question a lot, is, what are the specialists doing that are out there selling long-term care? What's working for them? So as we walk through this, these slides with highlighting of the features, keep in mind Mutual offers a 20, 15, and 10-year duration versus lifetime for inflation. That's a huge opportunity to be flexible and dial back premium. I mean, you're talking 20% plus savings in those scenarios. So keep that in mind. And then with inflation, we also, on our custom solution, which I'll point out, we have a buy-up feature that really basically allows a client to take out a certain inflation percentage, and without having to go back through underwriting years later, they have the option to increase that. Let's say just from a financial standpoint, maybe today they're paying a mortgage, putting kids through college, but later on they might have some extra income that opens up. Maybe they want to buy up or buy back down. With our product, they can do that. A couple other things, shared care is a highlight with the specialists out there. They're able to get extra coverage for one of the partners. And then also our professional home healthcare, especially given, that the hype around being able to keep people at home for as long as they can. It really only increases the premium by 3% to add double coverage onto that. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. So let's go ahead and move forward with just covering what solutions we offer. We have what we call the Mutual Care Solutions product portfolio. We have two great solutions, our secure and custom. I get the question, which one do you see a majority of the sales in, or where should I focus? To be quite honest with you, I really think that focusing on the custom product allows you that flexibility I'm talking about, because there are a few features that are not available on secure, but they are on custom. So if you just want to hone into one product, I really think custom is where you want to dial yourself into. Kind of keep in mind, typical shelf life for a product is 3 to 4 years. Our product has actually been out there on the market offering the same great features for over 10 years. When people ask, why is that? It's because, back to the point I made earlier, we want to offer a product that consumers know works the way they want it to come claim time, and ours does that. And it also is at a price point people can afford, and we developed it with that flexibility. So there's been no need for us to go back and redevelop a brand new product. Now, that explains why, it makes sense for us to do this new business rate adjustment versus rolling out a whole new product. So just wanted to point that out. And again, in the interest of time, I won't be going over all of the product features today, but you can find the side-by-side product comparison in our underwriting guide, which can be found out on our Mutual Care Solutions software. You can download it right from the software, which is a very nice feature, or through our sales professional access site, whatever is easiest for you. All right, so highlighting where we stand out. Again, remembering some coverage is better than no coverage at all. The way I like to look at this, if you're sitting across the table or across a screen with a consumer and they say to you, I can only afford $250 a month per person. Our software allows you to go into the software and enter that and build a policy, like back into a policy for that. So, I mean, that when I'm talking about the flexibility, you are truly able to meet any client's price point and budget. I want to kind of hone in on, we have these two policies. They offer a lot of the same great features, right? We've developed our product around consumer-friendly benefits. To name a few of these benefits, the cash I mentioned earlier. With the states that have not rolled out this rate adjustment, we previously offered a 30 and 40% cash allowance. That is what had changed with this new business rate adjustment. We had bumped that down to 25% of the home health care benefit. Other consumer-friendly benefits is we've got the built-in calendar day elimination period versus service day that you might see from some of our competitors. We offer monthly benefits versus daily benefits. We feel very strongly, but by offering the monthly, we're going to be able to get more coverage into the home when it's needed versus putting the daily restriction on it. And then we are a carrier that offers multiple return of premium options. And so I think, that just speaks to our unparalleled flexibility, and we are unique in that realm. Really, the media has kind of helped you as agents out there by drawing attention around, the nursing home piece of things. We offer multiple stay-at-home benefits. I've mentioned people want to try to stay at home as long as they can. I'll kind of show you some of those benefits here shortly, but I wanted to point out we have multiple stay-at-home benefits. So now that we've kind of looked at, what are some of the same great features, I wanted to point out there are a few more features within the custom, as I mentioned, versus the secure. The multiple inflation protection options and then also the return of premium are just a couple of those. I have these side-by-side comparisons. We're not going to go over everything, but I do just kind of want to hone in. I mentioned the cash benefit, and I wanted to dial into what that really offers here a little bit more. We have a policy that has both reimbursement and cash available. The way that cash benefit works is your client has the ability to elect cash day one. A lot of times people don't have a plan in place when a long-term care event occurs. This cash gives them coverage day one, but also allows them time to figure out what is the progression of care going to be in this situation. If it is a situation where they need to eventually transition into a facility, they can go over to the reimbursement side of the product at any time, keeping in mind at that point in time when they transition, they would have to meet their elimination period. requirement. So let's say they had a 90-day elimination period, they took out cash day one, they can receive 25% of that home health care benefit, of course, up to an initial maximum of $2,000 per month. We did put a cap on that. And at the point that they say, I no longer want to receive the cash, I want to go to the reimbursement side, they have to wait 90 days, their elimination period. Now, we do have a 0-day home health care rider that can be added, and I highly encourage you to look at that, adding that feature to your product. When I say, our product is developed to work the way consumers want it to work come claim time, that's a conversation you can have. If they don't want to wait that elimination period out, and they're exercising the home health care coverage, they can go to the reimbursement side without waiting that elimination period. So there is some flexibility and options there. Kind of dialing into those stay-at-home benefits I mentioned we offer. We have caregiver training, durable medical equipment, home modifications, medical alert systems. On both of the plans, we offer up to 2 times the maximum monthly benefit. So just wanted to point that out on this slide. And then here, you can see I've referenced we have multiple return of premium benefits or options. We have the return of premium at death with the 3 times initial maximum monthly benefit. So I'd like to just point out here that, when you're comparing products out there or you're hearing objections from your clients that, well, what if I purchase a policy and I don't use it? The traditional product I'm talking about today allows you to add this return of premium feature on there and get them some level of their premiums paid back, of course, minus claims paid, but at least you have an option or feature within our product to kind of combat that objection. And then here, I like to just kind of point out we have multiple allowances built within our product to, again, help bring that premium down, depending on if 2 people are applying, if they are in great health. We're, one of the carriers out there that still offers a healthy allowance, that preferred of 15%. And then if you're a producer and you take a policy out on yourself, we want to reward you with a 5% allowance on that as well. So here, you can see between the secure and the custom, how many different inflation options we offer. We do 1 to 5% in increments of 0.25 on the custom. And so that's really, to me, where the value of the flexibility of the product lies and why you would want to focus on the custom. I pointed out those inflation duration where we have the lifetime, 20, 15, and 10-year options available. This is going to save 20% plus on premium, depending upon what combination of things you pick to run for your client. But that's something to basically consider versus just allowing that lifetime premium to run out. You can save quite a bit on that. This slide I just put out there because I want you to be aware that we do offer a partnership qualified policy. It helps stabilize Medicaid by delaying the use of the program. Partnership allows people to protect a portion of their assets. It's not, I'm going to say it's not as important to consumers as maybe it had been in years past, but it's still something to be considered depending on the situation. And we've been most impressed with how many states have approved the plan to be partnership all the way down to 1%. So if that is something that's important to you, take a look at it. The nice thing about our software, I'll talk more about how you can run a quote later, but the nice thing about our software is that when you're out there running illustrations, it's going to highlight if you've chosen a combination of benefits that's not partnership qualified versus is. So we try to make it as easy as possible for you as the agent as you're trying to learn our product and know what to pick and what to stay away from. So keep that in mind. I want to just cover a couple of, sales ideas or competitive niches within our product that as you're out there running illustrations or working with Premier, you can hone in on. We've talked a lot about the flexibility of our product. I like to make sure you also know we have the 0-day zero inflation option as well. So depending upon your client's age, let's say you are taking a policy out on someone that's 70 years old. Maybe inflation is not something that's as important as somebody who you are writing a policy on that's 60 years old. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're developing a plan that meets their needs. I mentioned that we also have a buy-up option within our product. This really, again, just provides peace of mind for your clients. Let's say that I mentioned, they could be putting kids through college or paying on a mortgage. And let's say they take out a policy at 2%. Well, now their kids have graduated, their mortgage pays down, they're going into retirement distribution phase. They may want to buy up, and they can do that without going back through that underwriting process. Let's say their health has changed. They know that they're going to need the coverage down the road. Once a year on their policy anniversary date, they can choose to move that inflation up. If it was 2%, they can go all the way up to 5%. Let's say things change a few years down the road, they can also buy back down. I think we covered the limited period inflation, but just kind of honing in on that again. I thought I'd give some examples, just actual scenarios and what the savings could be. So when you're out there playing with the software and adjusting different inflation options, I was playing with a 60-year-old in 0.25 or quarter increment inflation options. Some of the savings I was seeing was 6.1% and more. So I would, definitely it's worth your time to run a couple different scenarios there. I had a $6,000 premium going from a 3% down to 2.75. It saved over $300 in the premium. I was playing with a 3% and was going down to a 2% on another scenario and saved over $1,300. So that was over a 22% savings in premiums. So understand that, even though we've had this rate adjustment in some states, playing with this inflation, this is the type of coverage and budget needs I'm talking about trying to meet. And again, it does vary by age, and you'll see that within the software. This slide here is a sales idea slide that I've developed. Now it's based, the numbers I have not updated to the new business rate refresh. So it's based on those states that haven't taken that, but you can easily run the same scenario on the new business rate refresh states as well. This is considering a retirement scenario, right? So you've got the accumulation phase of retirement, and then you have the distribution phase of retirement. So what I did is I took a male age 55 with a $5,000 a month benefit or $200,000 pool. We did the 90-day elimination period with 3% lifetime. $1,250 is what the cash benefit came out to. The key here is that I wanted to point out that premium came out to $2,547 a year at a select rate. We always recommend running select rates on our product. In those earning years, you can see there's the time value of inflation that builds. So they're going to end up with a very rich policy years down the road as they keep this in place, right? So let's fast forward to this male is now 67 years old and retires. He's had 12 years of inflation growth. So kind of back to what we were talking about, very rich policy, right? At this point, he decides let's reduce down to from 3% lifetime down to 1% inflation based on it's going to be based on his issue age. He keeps all the gains and grows at 1% for life. That dropped his premium to $1,582 a year, just going down from that 3% to the 1%. And I'll tell you, with the new business rate adjustment, that 3% compound lifetime is what took the greatest hit for us. It used to be that everybody pushed the 5% inflation. That really was your Cadillac type plan out there. Well, over the last 10 years, 3% is what we've sold the most of. There's flexibility with going down to that 1%, and you're really going to see the savings by doing that. Here, I just wanted to paint a picture of the buy up and buy down, taking it out at age 55 at the 1% initial, again, based on issue age. And then, I'm sorry, I got to take a drink here. Just getting ready to cough, I apologize. Age 58, let's say they want to jump up to 2.5%, and then even age 61 up to 3.5%. At that time, it's going to be based on age at the time of the buy up, but it does include, we do like a premium credit to end up with the final premium there. And then let's say age 80, 1% after buy down, any gains previously applied to the policy are retained, and it's based on age 55, so that's huge. Excuse me. So hopefully I'm illustrating through a couple of these slides just the value in the flexibility of being able to adjust the premium for your clients depending upon their needs. So with that wraps up product and some of the sweet spots. I wanted to make sure that you knew how to quote Mutual of Omaha. Of course, Premier Marketing is always there and willing to help, and they have direct access to us if there's anything that they need from us. But today, the tools that are out there and available to you is our Mutual Care Solutions software. If you visit mutualofomaha.com/broker, you log in with your producer number, you can download the software right from our Sales Professional Access site. I highly encourage this software over our WinFlex software. WinFlex just is not as user-friendly as the mutual care solutions. Plus, you're going to be able to train yourself on the product after this call. We're here to help, but once you start playing with it, you're really going to see the value of the flexibility and can create plans and share with your consumers, what their different options are, depending upon, what's important to them. We also have a quotes on the go. So if you have an iPhone or an Android, go to your app store. You can search Mutual of Omaha Sales Professionals and download that, install, and start quoting. So that's a great feature that's being utilized. Once you have quoted the Mutual of Omaha product, you have 3 ways you can write our product: either a paper application, a fillable PDF, or an e-app option. There's a lot of advantages to using an e-app. It helps with keeping apps in good order. You can select right from the system the Bob code, which is important to include on every application. And it's going to move through the entire sales and new business process faster than if you would have written a paper app and submitted that. You can access our e-app on SPA once you're registered. So if you're not currently contracted, you'll want to reach out to Premier, get contracted for long-term care, and you'll get a production number and then be able to register for SPA. We have what we call a sandbox you can play in. We wanted to give agents the opportunity to run an e-app without doing it in real time with a consumer. Make sure you're 100% comfortable with how that process works. So you can access that sandbox and play with the e-app online that way. We also have many other training tools that can help. We have a quick start guide. We created an e-app training video, and we also have an e-app FAQ. So now that you know the product, you know how to write us, we want to make sure you know we're going to be here come claim time. And we've also created some consumer materials that can help you educate your clients on the claim process. So there are great pieces that are housed out there on that Sales Professional Access site I've referenced that you can get access to and that can kind of help you through that process. I've mentioned downloading the materials. Again, just a reminder, mutualofomaha.com/broker. Materials are under forms and materials on that site. I let Katie know before we kicked off this webinar, we have a sales and marketing process. It's a brand new digital brochure. I'm going to send that to her after the webinar and she can include it in some follow-ups. But it's really going to walk you through the 6-step sales and marketing process, everything from learning the product to finding people to talk to, addressing the need, offering a solution, completing the app, and assisting with claims. We did a webinar not too long ago, so I'll get her over the recording link that she can also send out and share with you if you're interested in that. And then service commitments. I just wanted to make sure you knew as agents that if you submit an application with us, the initial review should be done within typically 3 days after submission, but within 24 hours of receipt is typical. Once we have everything, all the requirements in-house and underwriting has what they need to underwrite it, they are able to do that within 24 hours. And then I wanted to make sure you knew we have email and phone lines available. We typically return responses within 4 hours as long as they're received by 2:30 Central Time. So if you have a case that you're not sure if it would qualify with Mutual of Omaha, but you want to run it by an underwriter, one of the things I hear from specialists a lot of times out there is Mutual is easy to do business with. They have direct access to their underwriters. We have a pre-qualification line, LTC Underwriting at mutualofomaha.com, and a phone number you can reach out to. And again, they actually are pretty good about getting back within moments, but we just like to put service levels around what we do. And then in terms of what's next, so we wrap this up, we end the call, what can you do next to kind of carry out completing a long-term care stay? Listen to your clients, educate them on the value of peace of mind of securing a long-term care plan. People go years of accruing a retirement plan and being positioned to enjoy retirement. One long-term care event can wipe that out. So help them understand how important it is to plan for long-term care. Make sure you're contracting with Mutual of Omaha before you're taking an app. We visit our website, download the software, play in the e-app, review our underwriting tools. And then I threw this consumer video link out here because I think it's a great tool that can help you. If you are out there talking about other products, MedSup, Life, whatever it is that you've sold to a client, we have a PDF flyer available that you can either include in an email and put it in your signature tagline, or you can hand a brochure over if you want to order some. And basically, it is a video that does not speak to Mutual of Omaha's product, but speaks to the importance of planning for long-term care. And you can leave that and say, if you haven't planned for long-term care, you don't have policy, listen to this video and then call me to schedule an appointment. I'm hearing that that's working really well for agents out there in the field. So, after that, you run your illustrations and then you can submit an app with Mutual of Omaha. So, Katie, that really wraps up the content that I had. I hope I've covered all of the points you were hoping we would cover today. Is there any questions? Do we want to open up to questions?
Absolutely, absolutely. A couple questions, and I know I actually had a couple questions called in this morning for somebody that couldn't make it, and so I know she's going to be on the recording. And first what are the issue ages, and are your products available in all 50 states?
Very good question. Thank you for that. So our product age, we run 30 to 79. And I'm moving back on the slides here. I mentioned that our agent underwriting guide gives a side-by-side comparison. If you need to reference that, following this webinar, we do list out in the agent and underwriting guide the two ages for our product are ages 30 to 79. And then in terms of course, it jumps back. Sorry, Katie. I think she had also asked, are we approved in all 50 states? And we are approved in all 50 states.
Perfect. Another question is how much has Mutual of Omaha paid in claims for long-term care?
Good question. We do have some claims pieces that will, I believe, share data through 2018. Maria, do you happen to have those pieces at your fingertips? I've done a lot of talking too. Maybe it'd be good if I could transition over to you to see if you can help answer that. If you don't have it in front of you, what we can do is send that out to Katie following the webinar to share with everybody.
Definitely. It'll take me a moment to find it. I have it here. Let me see. Promises kept. So it's in our promises kept brochure. And
Yep.
So we paid just here. Okay, so it says here, since, of course, we had this product since had long-term care since 1987. Since then, we paid 1.1 billion, 1.1 billion in benefits in long-term care.
Very good, Maria. Thank you for that. Wow. And of course, as you're reading that, I found our consumer claims materials slide that also illustrated that. So thank you for confirming that, Maria.
And we do have something more current. So in 2017, it was 108 million in long-term care claims. So that's average about 9 million per month.
Yep. Does that answer the
Fantastic.
question, Katie?
Thank you guys for sharing that. No, I appreciate that. And also thank you for who typed that in. Another question is customizable marketing pieces. I think what they're asking is we have some carriers that they can put their own information on, so in order to do some marketing.
Yes, great question. We do have some consumer materials that are customizable. So a couple of things, Katie, we have a marketer website that would just be available to you to kind of take a look at creating taking some pieces, flyers, things like that. Maria, I don't know if you have anything off the top that you wanted to mention, but what we can do is follow up with those pieces after this, just because there's not enough time to get into the website and go over all of those. But yes, we do have some customizable options available. Would you agree with that, Maria?
Prospect.
Go ahead.
Yes, we do. So we also have prospecting pieces under our forms and materials, under our agent website, Sales Professional Access. If you search by prospecting, you'll be able to find what's approved in the state you're searching for.
Wonderful, wonderful. And as always, if anybody gets on the website and you need some assistance, we can absolutely help you too. Another question is, can we please review the shared care and how the policies have to match, as well as how the buckets work on money transfer?
Sure. Maria, do you want to maybe just explain the shared care benefit? Do you want to take some time and do that?
Sure. So in order to have the shared care, both spouses or partners have to apply at the same time and have the exact same benefits. What happens here, if one of the partners should go on claim, they can then pull from their partner that isn't on claim, take some of their benefits, as long as they leave their partner with at least 12 months of benefits. Some states, such as Arizona, requires that they leave their partner with at least 24 months. It also states that under the shared care, that if one of the partners should pass away, whether they use some of the benefits or maybe none of the benefits, then any benefits that deceased partner has left behind will then be placed into their living partner's benefits. So that living partner will receive their deceased partner's benefits at no additional cost. And then, of course, if they've had an inflation rider on there, those benefits of their deceased spouse would also continue to inflate.
Thank you,
Does that
Maria.
help a little bit?
Perfect. Perfect. Yes. Another question is, let's see here. Are there tutorials on how to, so in other words, do you have any videos that will show us how to use the quoting software?
I was trying to
We
think
do
back.
not have any
We
tutorials.
may. Okay, I was going to say, I think
We do
years
have how
ago
to
we
use
may have, but I think we have
application.
any current. Yep. So, Katie,
Absolutely.
something that we could throw out there is if you would like to do a future webinar with Maria and I where we walk through the software, we would be more than happy to do a webinar on that for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And David, I will follow up with you because I actually have, I could send you over the software and we can kind of walk through how to do exactly what you're asking. Lastly, the question is do you have anything sold on an employer with an employer discount? Is what I'm thinking they mean.
Okay, so right, that's what I was going to clarify. Are they talking about, do we offer a employer worksite program? We do not offer that to the masses, but we do have a common employer program. And do you mind speaking to that? Just kind of share high level details on what would be needed for that, if they wanted to leverage that.
Sure. So for the common employer discount, if we have 5 individuals who work for a common employer, we would want them to submit an application at the same time. So initially, we can set up a common employer. We would need the first 5 applications to be submitted at the same time. We have a cover sheet on our website, and if anyone needs that, I can send that over to Katie, that you would add to the first 5 applications. When they're submitted together, there'll be a common employer number provided, be it 4 digits provided to that agent. Then going forward, if that agent has additional individuals who want to apply under that same company, then they would just indicate on the application that 4-digit number that was provided when they initially submitted the 5. And then going forward, these customers or the clients would receive a 5% discount. We would apply the 5% discount once to those 5 individuals once we receive the 5 applications in-house.
Yep, thank you for that, Maria. So just to clarify too, it is an individual, it's based on our individual policies.
Yes.
It's not a employer sponsored. It cannot be employer paid or sponsored due to the rate
That's
structure.
absolutely correct. Yeah, they're still individual policies. They're going to be issued each individually. You'll use the individual application, but what's happening is because you submitted 5 applications from these individuals who all work for the same company, we're going to give them a 5% discount.
Yep. Does that answer the question, Katie?
It does. In fact, it brought up another question. Once all 5 applications are submitted, will all 5 need to be approved in order to honor that common employer situation?
That's a good question. If 5 are initially submitted, you know what, Katie, I'm going to check, but my first thoughts were, I've had this question asked before, but I don't have it on top of my head because I don't get it asked very often. I do believe they will get it, even though 5, one of those might not be issued or 2. But if you don't mind, Katie, can I get back with you? Because I want to make sure I provide the correct answer, and I'm not, my thought is yes, but I like to confirm that. If you don't mind, I can get back with the answer to that.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Actually, one more
So I
came in.
will clarify for
common
that, Katie. Oh, sorry, Katie. I just wanted to chime in and
go ahead,
answer
go
that
ahead.
question. In the underwriting guide we offer, sometimes Maria and I, we don't talk about every specific program, so often we have to refresh our memory, but we do confirm that it has to be when 5 or more employees who work for a common employer purchase a long-term care policy from us. They each save 5%. So we have to have at least 5 that purchase it, and then that allowance would be added.
Perfect. And then also, are there any programs that offer simplified underwriting?
There are not. We do not offer any programs that have simplified underwriting.
Perfect.
Thank you for clarifying
Well,
that.
ladies, I thank you guys so much. I don't see any more questions. If you do have questions, as always, you're more than welcome to give us a call here at Premier. We're happy to help. And with that, I want to thank everyone again for attending. I really appreciate it. We will be in touch with the names of the lucky winners for the Mutual of Omaha new logo merchandise. And Amanda and Maria, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And we look forward to future sales.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Katie. We appreciate everybody's time. Have a good day.